welcome to India Community Centre's Parent Talk, a show for parents by parents. I'm your host, Vidya. Before we begin, I just want to give out some contact information for the show. Our website is indiacc.org/parent talk. The email is radio@indiacc.org. And of course, our call-in number is 510-770-1550. Don't worry if you have missed some of that because I'll keep repeating it through the show. Today's episode is Brain Games. Now, every child is born curious, but how do you make sure that instinct of curiosity is never lost? Let me tell you about an MIT study I read about recently. Two groups of 4-year-olds were shown a new toy. The toy had 4 tubes coming out of it, and each tube did something different, like squeaking or rattling. The first group of students, the first group of 4-year-olds, was shown the toy by a scientist who pretended she had never seen it before. So as she showed the toy to the kids, she pretended to accidentally pull one of the tubes and make it squeak. Then she said, "Oh wow, did you see that? Let me try to do that again." In the second group, the toy was shown by a scientist who acted like a teacher, demonstrating how the toy worked. She deliberately pulled on the tube and made the squeaking sound. Now, after the demonstration, both groups of children were given the toy to play with. Not surprisingly, all the children pulled on that first tube and laughed at the squeaking sound it made. But then something interesting happened. The children from the second group, the one who was shown the toy as a demonstration, quickly got bored with the toy. But the kids in the first group, where the researcher had shown surprise, explored the other tubes in the toy and discovered all the other hidden surprises. Why did this happen? The researchers came to the conclusion that when kids are given explicit instructions, when they're told what they need to know, they become less likely to explore on their own. Curiosity is a fragile thing. I guess the learning from this is that parents and teachers must walk a fine line between giving kids a taste of knowledge while at the same time preserving a sense of mystery and uncertainty. And while our kids may have wonderful teachers, teachers are constrained by having to deliver instruction to big batches of kids at a time, which means sometimes the delivery method can get somewhat standardized. So how do we as parents take the lead in boosting our kids' creative instincts and curiosity? If you're interested about that, then today's show is right up your alley. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to talk to parents who are actively involved in doing exactly that.
आए हैं समझाने लोग, आए हैं समझाने लोग,
हैं कितने दीवाने लोग,
आए हैं समझाने लोग। दैरो हरम में चैन जो मिलता, दैरो हरम में चैन जो मिलता, क्यों जाते मैखाने लोग, क्यों जाते मैखाने लोग।
जान के सब कुछ कुछ भी ना जाने, जान के सब
Welcome back to ICC Parent Talk. I'm your host Vidya. Today we're talking about brain games, or how to boost your child's curiosity and creativity. Our first guest is Raji Pingali. Raji is one of those intrepid moms whose kids have participated in a number of these enrichment activities. But today we'll be talking to her about a contest called Odyssey of the Mind, because Raji is the Odyssey of the Mind parent coach coordinator for Challenger School since 2004 and is a current board member for the Silicon Valley chapter. Welcome, Raji.
Thank you, Vidya. I'm glad to be here.
So can you give us a quick overview of Odyssey of the Mind?
Definitely. So many parents may have heard about the program. This is a program to create or foster creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. Exactly the type of curiosity that Vidya introduced today, the show about the MIT study. So this is off hands for parents and fully hands-on for the kids, meaning the kids get together in a team setting and come up or brainstorm about certain ideas given certain set of problems. Typically the Odyssey of the Mind, this was given as a challenge, actually started by Dr. Sam Michaelis, who was a New Jersey engineering professor. He was giving his engineering students a challenge to do, and then he said, why not integrate this or expand this to younger kids? So Odyssey of the Mind can be started as early as kindergarten, and it goes all the way up to college level. And depending on your grade, it has different divisions. You start as a primary division for kindergarten to second grade, then move on to third grade to fifth grade as division 1, and then to the middle school level as division 2, then high school level as division 3, and college as division 4. And the earlier you start, the better the kids learn the program or learn about how to survive in the real world, because real world is not about spoon feeding them. So they have to learn everything on their own, and it's a very great experience. As a parent, I have found that my kids are enriched thanks to this activity particularly, and they can make their own decisions. They can think through a problem in a very creative way. So there is no right or wrong solution for any given problem. To give a short synopsis of the different set of problems, they have every year 5 problems. The first one is a vehicle problem. They have to build a vehicle. So it combines the engineering skills and the technical skills, and they always have to present the solution as a team in a very humorous skit. And the second problem is a technical performance, which combines the performance capabilities along with the technical building abilities. The third problem is a classics, based on classics, and it can range from Shakespearean classics to the modern day classics, and it has to be twisted or spun around a classics problem. And the fourth one is again a building and an engineering problem, which is to build a structure with balsa wood. Balsa wood, as many of you might know, is a very, very strong wood, and it's very light wood, so it can hold a lot of weight. The challenge is to build a simpler structure which can hold a lot of weight. And the fifth problem is purely a performance problem. You can build stuff in terms of props and other equipment needed, and your costumes as well. But mainly the focus is on a humorous skit and how to perform. And of course, the sixth problem is for the primary kids, which is for the younger ones. And we have regional level, the state level, and then the world level. The world level invites all the teams that have advanced to that level from different countries. As Odyssey of the Mind is spreading to many countries, it's expanding. It's an ever-expanding program.
Okay, so this sounds really fascinating. As a parent of a child who actually participated in Odyssey of the Mind once, I do know how interesting it is and how graded it is for the different ages. But for our listeners, can you tell us what is the first thing you need to do before you go about starting a team? I mean, how do you go about it?
First thing is to get together with a few like-minded parents, I would say. If your kid is playing or have a play date with other kids, get together with the other parents and see if they would be interested in getting the kids forming a team. So that would be the first step. So once you do that, every team requires an adult coach. And there are a lot of resources out there in terms of the website and coaches training. So the parent who has never done this is encouraged to go and attend the coaches training, which is coming around the corner. In fact, the Silicon Valley chapter's coaches training is next Saturday. So you can go to their website, register as a coach, and they will explain everything. The one thing about this program, which is very different from other programs, is this is totally hands-off for the parents or coaches, or there is absolutely no outside assistance, meaning the coaches are acting or the parents are acting as resources to get them together, and maybe a project manager as a project manager, but not really doing any of the thinking for them. So they need to get together. So the first step I would say is get together with your friends, your child's friends and the parents, and then form a team and then register them and go from there.
So Raji, what we'll do at the end of the show, since we have a lot to cover, is that maybe on the website, indiacc.org/parent talk, you can help us put up some resources for parents to click on and find out what more they need to do, what is the next step. I'm sure there are websites that provide a lot of information about
Definitely, we will link them to the website.
And does the team have to be school-based? Does it have to be all kids from the same school?
That's a very good question. Yes, there are two different types of teams. One is school-based, for which all the children have to be part of the same school. And the other type is if they do not, if they cannot form a team from the same school, there is another option which is called the community group. So your child may be part of an existing community group, for example, a church, maybe India Community Center. In fact, there is a team for the past 4 years from India Community Center where the students come from different schools, but they have been participating actively in the Odyssey of the Mind. So that is another option.
So folks, hopefully we've whetted your appetite to learn a little more about Odyssey of the Mind. We've heard from a parent, and we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to a child who has participated in Odyssey of the Mind and see what her experiences were like. You're listening to ICC Parent Talk with your host Vidya on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए we need to celebrate all the festivals so that they learn about our culture. अच्छा चलो माँ, I'll talk later. निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा? इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Welcome back to ICC Parent Talk with your host Vidya. Today's topic is brain games, and before the break we talked to Raji Pingali, who's been a coordinator for a program called Odyssey of the Mind for many years. We talked about how to get started in the level of parental involvement. If you have questions for Raji, this is the time to call. The number is 510-770-1550, 770-1550. And now we're going to talk to Vidya, who's a 13-year-old studying in Challenger School, who's participated in Odyssey of the Mind ever since kindergarten. Is that right, Vidya?
Yes, that's right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Her team has advanced to the state level many times and the world finals once. And in fact, it's even been awarded a particular award called the Renatra Fusca Award for Creativity. It's the highest honor they can give, and that they were awarded that this year, right? 2011.
Yeah,
Is that
this
right?
year.
Fantastic. Does your team have a name?
No, we don't really have a name.
So is it the same team that you started off with in kindergarten many years ago?
No, in kindergarten we had 7 girls, but more or less it's been around the same because most people stick around for at least 1 or 2 years. And we still have 4 girls from kindergarten who are on the current day team. And at one point we even had a couple boys, but a lot of people changed schools. But the composition, it's always been nice because we've always made friends, and since we all go to the same school, it's been like easy to communicate and talk and bond, I guess.
Do you remember the first project your team did?
Yeah, it was in kindergarten in 2004. And there was a group of 7 of us girls, and the problem was called Rewind with Humor, where you have to perform a skit, except you have to perform it backwards. So the end comes first, then the middle, and then the beginning. And you have to also incorporate a lot of jokes in it, and the judges have to try to find out if they can understand the skit even though it's presented backwards. And even though this was a primary problem, meaning that it didn't matter how you did because you don't advance because it's just for kindergarteners, we had a lot of fun because it was our first year, and then we got really excited and wanted to do it again.
So now can you tell us what project you did which won the Ranatra Fusca Award?
Yeah, last year we won the Ranatra Fusca Award, which is the highest award for creativity. And the problem was called the tour guide. And it's a classic problem where there's one tour guide which you have to pick from a list of people that they give you, which are like already like classical characters or fiction characters, and that tour guide has to take a bunch of tourists to 3 places, and 2 of the places have to exist in the world today, and 1 has to be made up by the team. And we actually chose Amelia Bedelia, and I actually was Amelia Bedelia in the place. I was like the tour guide, and we went to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and the pyramids in Egypt, and our team created place was called Brainstormland, where all ideas are created, and you actually get transformed there from a storm. So we won the creativity award because we had a lot of creative elements in it, and our theme for our problem that we came up with was actually solution to pollution. So we came up with an idea to solve pollution, except it's kind of hypothetical, so it'll probably never happen. But then we came up with it in Brainstormland, and our background for our skit, most teams have like a backdrop or something, but we took it one step further and we created a book as a backdrop. So the narrator was reading the book to the audience, and you could actually flip the book, and because each book, the page depicted a different scene. And our costumes and props were creative also. For example, we had a fish made entirely out of cutlery.
Okay.
For the fin, the nose was a bowl, and the scales were cut out of plates, and the tail or the fins were knives and forks and spoons. So the judges really liked that, and we got to advance to the next level. Even though we got 3rd place, we got the Ranatra Fusca Award, and it was really great because they haven't given this award in a long time, at least 4 years. So
that's fantastic. So can you tell me what's the best part of Odyssey of the Mind for you? What do you like the most about it?
The best part is working together as a team and coming up with ideas to solve the solution. And we always try to come up with the most creative ideas. And sometimes, since all of us have different ideas, we try to mix them into one big idea. And a lot of times, my team even ends up doing more than one problem. So we make one skit for more than one problem, which is really creative, and it's really hard because each problem is so different. So you have to make one skit that can incorporates all the ideas for one problem. And even performing is really fun, and just being creative. For example, in 6th grade, we made a whole parody of Odyssey of the Mind as our skit. We didn't advance, but the judges really liked it, and it was really funny because we kind of like spoofed the whole system of Odyssey of the Mind.
That's really creative.
Yeah,
That's really creative. So we're going to thank you, Vidya. It was a pleasure listening, and I bet parents out there, you're wondering how to get your kids so interested and enthusiastic. We're going to take another short break, and when we return, we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about Math and Science Olympiad. You're listening to ICC Parent Talk with your host Vidya on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए we need to celebrate all the festivals so that they learn about our culture. अच्छा चलो माँ, I'll talk later. निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा, इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Welcome back. You're listening to ICC Parent Talk on Radio Zindagi 1550 every Saturday from 11 to noon. If you're just tuning in, today's topic is brain games. We talked to Raji Pingali and her daughter Vidya about Odyssey of the Mind, and we'll try and put up a podcast of the show on indiacc.org/parent talk in case you want to catch up with what was talked so far. Now I have with me in the studio Carla Nima and Tripti Singh. Tripti is a management professional and the mother of 2 kids. She was the coach for her child's team last year in Forest Park School for the Science Olympiad. Carla is a software professional who took a break from working outside the home a couple of years ago to focus on her daughter's education. She's been coaching Math Olympiad since then. She has 2 daughters and she felt that math and science were not being stressed enough at school and she wanted to take on that role. Hi Carla and Tripti.
Hi.
Tripti, I understand the format for Science Olympiad in terms of the competition style itself is somewhat similar to Odyssey of the Mind. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Science Olympiad is more like competing in events in all the areas of science, engineering, technology based on the skill set and expertise of the children. And its main goal is to bring academic competition to the same level of recognition reserved for the athletic competitions. So, and it's more like the kids, we make a team of 6 kids and the parents are involved in it, and it's more academic than like creative, as in Odyssey of the Mind is more creativity, but science is more academic.
How young can you start a Science Olympiad team?
Well, for the Forest Park School, it was like from the 4th grade, so it was like around 9 years of age for the Science Olympiad team.
I see. And typically, how many members are there in a team?
We had around 6 members per team, or allowed to have only 6 members per team.
Can you give us an example of the kind of problems kids work on in Science Olympiad?
Yeah, Science Olympiad had like 10 events, 5 theoretical and 5 you can say practical, where they had to build stuff or make something. And the theoretical were mostly based on theory, like Rhodes Scholars, where they had to study maps and then ecosystem, disease detective, those kind of events. And practicals were like they had to build a rubber band catapult, where they built a battery buggy. So those were the events that they...
So do the kids just pick one event and showcase that, or do they have to compete in all of them?
I think they can compete in all of them, or they can choose how many they want to compete. It's open.
So it's individual.
Yeah.
So today, if a parent listening to the show wants to get started, what would be the way to go about it?
As Raji said, first they have to find like-minded people, parents and students or friends of the students who would love to do this, and then register their team online, and that would be a great way to start.
So we'll try and put up the link for those also on the ICC indiacc.org website, our Parent Talk page. Can you, what is the parental involvement in this? What, as a parent, do you have to do once the team is ready? Do all parents have to be involved? Is it just a coach, like Odyssey of the Mind? How does it work?
Yeah, well, people would think that only the coach has to be involved, but my experience is if all the parents are involved in it, it's much better, because then the kids are also excited about doing stuff. And if it's only the coach, then sometimes things go out of hand because one parent cannot really manage. And so I suggest to anybody who's interested that they should all be involved as parents with their kids in all the events that they are taking part in.
So is if the parents are getting involved in the project, it seems to be quite different from Odyssey of the Mind, where the children are completely left on their own and they have to figure it out, good, bad or ugly, that's how they do it. Whereas Science, so how do you make sure it's the kids doing it and not, say, the parents micromanaging the whole affair?
Yeah, you have to provide resources. Involvement is in the sense like bringing them to the group meetings, providing them with resources and encouraging them to do the things or repeat, because sometimes it's the repetition of the same event that they have to practice. So it's stuff that like that, not like really micromanaging them on each and everything.
But is there active science teaching involved by the parent?
In theory, yes, because the theory covers the syllabus from the 4th grade to the 6th grade. And since for me, my child was only in the 4th grade, so I did have to coach him some stuff which was in the 5th and the 6th grade. So yeah, I suppose that
there is some teaching involved
Yeah.
by the parent. So it helps, I guess, if a parent or a relative is familiar with some of the concepts that the children are planning to work on.
Yeah.
And what's the financial commitment?
Well, for the registration, it was around $20 per student for a team. So it should be for the registration itself should be for the team of 6 people around 120. Then besides that, for the resources like books and all, and then the material for the practical events, I would suppose it would be around $200 to $300. Total.
Per child.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tripti. It's time for another short break. When we return, we're going to talk to Carla about Math Olympiad. Raji and Tripti will continue to be in the studio, so this is your opportunity to call with any questions you may have. Our number here is 510-770-1550, and you're listening to ICC Parent Talk with Vidya.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए वी नीड टू सेलिब्रेट ऑल द फेस्टिवल्स सो दैट दे लर्न अबाउट आवर कल्चर। अच्छा चलो माँ, आई टॉक लेटर। निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा, इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Welcome back to ICC Parent Talk on Radio Zindagi 1550 every Saturday from 11 to noon. If you're just tuning in, today's topic is brain games. For those who have missed our previous segments on Odyssey of the Mind and Science Olympiad, we'll try and put up the entire segment on indiacc.org/Parent Talk webpage. We're back with our guests Raji, Tripti, and now Carla. Carla is a parent coach for Math Olympiad. We are taking calls, so if you want to call in, our number is 770-1550. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you.
Carla, I understand the format for Math Olympiad is quite different from what we've heard so far. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, Math Olympiad is basically based on the math clubs that the schools run. It's most definitely attached to the schools.
Okay.
Only kids that attend a particular, the same school can participate and form teams. Teams can only be about 35 kids max.
Oh, there can be a 35 kid strong team.
Yes.
That sounds like a really big team. How do you coordinate?
Yes. Normally you definitely need parental involvement. You need one person in charge of the Olympiad.
Okay.
You don't need to travel.
Okay.
All of the material is sent to you either by mail or online. It does require a registration. I mean, the Math Olympiad program was actually founded in about 77.
Okay.
It went public in 79. And basically what it allows is a group of math educators, it was one of them who founded it, to provide math clubs with a more specific format for math problems, math solving, and new math strategies to give to the kids.
So Math Olympiad, when you say Math Olympiad, what is the Olympiad part of it? What is the competition part of it? How does it actually take place?
There is actually 5 contests. It's called 5 monthly contests, and they start around November time frame that the kids have to go through.
Okay.
But since the contests themselves are administered by the person in charge of the Olympiad, all the kids do it at basically the same time.
So
all around
in
the
school,
world.
usually after school, in an after-school program, most likely.
Yes. So it's usually attached to some sort of math club.
Okay.
But whereas a regular math club, it depends on whoever is running it to decide what the content is. The Math Olympiad ones focus on strategies for problem solving, and they usually use the books that have already been printed with the type of problems that are going to be covered.
Okay, and is there a financial commitment on the part of the parents?
Not necessarily. It depends on what the school involvement is, and in this case, mostly PTA.
Okay.
Because there is a registration fee per team. It's about $100, about $135 for foreign teams, I believe. Because it's also all over the world. And then, there are things that different groups want to do, like, print out T-shirts and things like that, order extra trophies for the specific achievements within the groups. It all depends on the schools and what they do.
Is it all within the school, or once or do they advance?
No, it's all completely within the school. There are, however, 2 levels,
okay.
2 different categories that the kids can sign up, or the person in charge can sign the team for, and they are grade based. There is a 4 to 6 level and a 6 to 8th grade level.
I see. We're going to take another short break. When we get back, we're going to talk to a young man who has participated in a number of these competitions. You may know him quite well. His name is Nikhil Desai. Let's take a short break. You're listening to ICC Parent Talk with Vidya on 1550 AM.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए we need to celebrate all the festivals so that they learn about our culture. अच्छा चलो माँ, I'll talk later. निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा? इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Welcome back to ICC's Parent Talk with your host Vidya. You're listening to Radio Zindagi on 1550 AM. Our number here is 770-1550, and Nikhil Desai is our next guest. He's a senior at Bellarmine College Prep, and he's been active in a number of these competitions that we've just been talking about. His whole life, he has participated in Science Bowl, Science Olympiad, Math Bowl, Quiz Bowl. If I start actually reading his resume, we'll probably run out of the rest of the time for this show. So welcome, Nikhil.
Hello, how are you doing?
Tell me something. I've been looking at your resume. The number of things you do, the list is so long. I'm wondering, how do you find the time for it?
I'm probably the same way as everybody else. Most of these activities are extracurricular. So what I do is normally we stay back after school and we do these competitions, or we participate in these extracurricular activities. And I mean, it gives us the chance to also socialize as well. So it sort of is a combination of us doing work and us sort of meeting with friends, and that takes care of our social interaction for the time. And so I think even it sort of allows us to combine various events. And
so your play is work and work is play.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially. Is there a favorite? You're part of the robotics. You're head of the Bellarmine Vex robotics team. You're in math club. You're on the board of a bunch of stuff. Is there one activity that you say you enjoy the most of all of these?
I think I really enjoy our school's Quiz Bowl team because we have an amazing coach, and we're a very small team, so we know each other very well. And our coach is amazing. He was actually on Jeopardy, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and he helped me prepare for Jeopardy as well. And we get the chance to socialize with each other a lot, but we also have a lot of time when we just sit down and practice and all sorts of things. And so it's really fun because all your friends are usually on the team as well, so you get to interact with them a lot.
So tell me a little bit about your Jeopardy experience. Do you have a memorable incident from there to share?
I think one interesting thing would be sort of Alex Trebek doesn't like to interact with the teenagers very much. He seems to think they're a bit immature. So whenever we had sort of interludes, he would just go to the audience and start getting them to ask him questions, so he didn't have to talk with us.
That's an interesting inside scoop for our listeners.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I know you're applying for colleges right now. So do you feel that participating in all these activities gives you a little bit of a heads up when it comes to doing that?
I think it's a really good preparation for college as a whole, because participating in these extracurricular activities like Math Olympiads, the Science Olympiads, Science Bowl, the individual subject Olympiads, Quiz Bowl, things like that, those give you really an insight into how you think. They help train your mind, so to speak, and that's really the most important tool you can bring with you to college, being able to look at something and understand it and analyze it. And no matter what you go into as a major in college, that really helps you. If you're interested in science, then being able to solve problems will help you. But even if you major in something like the humanities, like literature or history, you still have to bring an analytical mindset to everything you do. So participating in these after-school activities can give you sort of a different perspective on things from what is covered in school, which is always nice, because when you bring to college, what you want to bring to college is your ability to analyze and your ability to think critically and your ability to be open to any sort of intellectual viewpoint. And I think participating in these competitions really helps you with that.
So it also keeps you out of trouble. I bet a lot of parents are thinking, well, if he's doing Science Bowl and Math Bowl and quiz, he probably doesn't have any time to get into trouble.
Oh yeah, we do extracurricular activities, and we go home and work on homework until the wee hours of the morning, and then we sleep and get up and repeat.
It's probably good prep for college life, because you'll be working a lot. But well, let me rephrase that: college life for people who want to go to college and study. So, that's true that your experience gives you that. Prepares you a little bit better for college. But what about the apps themselves? In the application process, is it helpful?
Yeah, it's showing that you have a commitment to extracurricular activities that are, if you're interested in science and math, then doing extracurricular activities that are related to science and math are really helpful in the college admissions process, because they show, admissions committees that you have a passion for science and are interested in going beyond what you learn in school and taking what you know into the real world and into your after-school life. And so that just demonstrating that you have an interest and a passion and a desire to do more is really what college admissions officers are looking for, and doing these activities helps you in that, in showing that.
I suppose. And we're going to be talking about a Lego robotics program next. So let me ask you, you're really deeply involved in that in your high school. So when did you start getting interested in robotics, and how did that process start? I
mean, I really liked robotics since I was very young, because we used to go to places like the Tech Museum, and we used to see all the sort of the automatic displays. And then I learned I loved Legos, but I didn't know that Lego had a robotics platform until one of their representatives came to our school and told us about the FLL program. And First Lego League is a great thing because it gets so many young people involved in robotics at a very accessible and easy level. And so I love FLL also because it gave us sort of an introduction to sort of scientific research, because it made us work on projects and things that were related to the competition's theme. Like for 1 year it was nanotechnology, another year it was improving energy, using green energy, another year it was the saving the oceans from pollution, and then that ability to research and learn more about a subject is carried on with us into our high school careers. And I mean, in that way also, when I got into high school, I worked on VEX robotics and FRC robotics, which are more large scale and more mechanically engineering oriented than FLL. And I really love those too, because they gave us a really good perspective on the detail and the precision necessary to deal with real world problems. I mean, in FRC, the programming is nothing like what you have to do in FLL, because there's so many more opportunities for error, and you have to be able to deal with all the variation that you experience in one single game on the field. And they also gave us the opportunity to spread our love of STEM and technology education to younger people and mentor more FLL teams as well.
That's fascinating. So tell me something. Of all your activities, which one do you think is the most challenging and which one is the most fun?
Well, I think the most fun is, again, Quiz Bowl, because of the intimacy and the knowledge that we have of each other and our ability to have fun. I think the most challenging is probably robotics, because sort of this year I was asked to be the head of VEX robotics. and assistant head at FRC Robotics, and I've never really had a lot of leadership positions in robotics before. And so this was a new experience because, I mean, it's instead of being able to just do work, you have to make sure that everybody can get involved and everybody has the ability to function at their highest level. And so having to organize people into teams and schedule build sessions and things like that was a challenge because we had to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to participate. And so it's a good introduction, but it's definitely something I'm also learning as I go along.
So if looking back on all the stuff you've done, is there something you would have done differently?
I really love being outdoors, and I mean, when I was in 4th grade, I had to make the choice. Do I want to continue playing baseball and soccer, or do I go and do Odyssey of the Mind? And so I chose to do Odyssey of the Mind. And I think I would have liked to find more time to sort of do lots of outdoors things and have more physical activity and things like that. I love hiking and skiing, for example, but I haven't been able to do them very often because so many extracurricular activities sort of take hold of your life. So if I got the chance, I would try to schedule more time, sort of downtime, where you could just enjoy outdoors and do things without being in sort of the structure that is required by these extracurricular activities, I think.
Do you have a plan for some time when you're going to have the downtime?
That's what second semester senior year is for. After all the apps are done, there's so much downtime that you can do whatever you like. You can learn, you can teach yourself quantum mechanics or something, or you can go out and hike.
That's still studying. Yeah, thank you, Nikhil. We wish you all the very best. You're a really promising young man. We're going to go to a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to a parent coach of a Lego robotics team. You're listening to ICC Parent Talk with Vidya on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM. Our number here is 770-1550.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए we need to celebrate all the festivals so that they learn about our culture. अच्छा चलो माँ, I'll talk later. निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा? इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Welcome back to ICC Parent Talk. Today's topic was brain games, and we talked about a number of enrichment activities that kids can do and parents can help them with. We touched on Odyssey of the Mind, Science Bowl, Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad, and we spoke to a couple of really amazing kids who are completely into making sure that curiosity is alive and enjoying themselves in the process. Now we're going to talk to Arun Kumar, who is a parent coach for the Lego robotics team. They've called themselves the East Bay Lego Force. His rookie team made it to the regionals last year. That's fantastic. Welcome, Arun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Tell me honestly, Arun, was the motivation to become a coach the chance to play with Legos that you never did as a kid?
Quite likely, if you look at it from that fashion. But the main motivation was to spend some quality time with my son, aligning myself with his interest, and try to have fun in the process.
So when did you start the process?
So we started this team last year during the summer time frame. And
I see.
This was a completely new team, so nobody had any prior experience with the first Lego League. People were interested in Lego. They didn't know what they were getting into. And we actually pulled people from different schools and different living communities. So it was not a team which was from a particular school or from a particular location.
I see. So you can have teams that are pretty diverse in terms of where they're coming from.
That is what we did last year, but there are learnings from that because the amount of time and commitment that the kids need to put in, the scheduling overheads, it's probably better to minimize that as much as possible. But we didn't know that when we started the team last year. So we had very bunch of enthusiastic kids, enthusiastic parents. Some of them who knew what they were getting into, some of them didn't. And then the whole process, once it began, we really figured out what it was.
Is it the same team this year as well?
So we have had a few additions and subtractions. In fact, last year we had a boy who used to come from San Ramon every week to Fremont to work with the team. So that was a huge time commitment on their side. So some people have moved on to be part of their schools and their specific geographies. We have added a couple new people this time.
Probably local, more local.
More local, more close by, so that we can just get over to each other's houses. And
now, is there just one coach for the team, or are all the parents involved?
So we try to do some division of responsibilities. Some of the parents are involved in some of the programming related stuff. Some parents are into more in the research project. So yes, parents are involved to an extent.
Okay. So how do you coordinate all these different pieces? Is it everybody's given a task? And I'm thinking about this, and I remember having a conversation with you before the show, and what it got to me was, okay, this parent was involved in researching this project, and that parent was putting together something. And so what do the kids do?
So the main activity is done by the kids.
Which is what?
The programming the robot, building the actual robot model to do the challenges, and actually doing the legwork around research. The parents actually provide guidance, and as Nikhil was saying before this, there is a lot of discovering and learning which is involved. So the parents are there to guide the kids along the way. Now, of course, there are certain areas where parents may require a little more involvement because maybe the particular set of kids who are part of the team don't have that kind of experience. So let's say in a particular programming technique.
Why don't you give us a real life example of your experience last year? Right.
So we had this challenge about making the robot walk on a black line, okay, using a light sensor. And it's a difficult concept. It sounds simple when we think about it, but actually when you need to put that into practice, it's actually a difficult thing to achieve. Very difficult to achieve with a single sensor, slightly easier to achieve with two sensors. And we try to help the kids get the logic behind it, try to program. Ultimately, we gave up the idea of using the light sensors, and we did some brute force in terms of angles and distances. This year, we are trying to make sure that kids really work on programming it as per whatever coaching we have given them.
And is it a temptation to put your fingers into the process as a parent?
Quite a bit. In fact, one of the roles I play, I'm trying to play, is to make sure that the parental involvement is kept to a minimum, and most of the learning is done by the kids themselves.
But this is a competition. So when you go to a competition, I'm sure it must be enormously tempting for you to present the best project possible and not necessarily the most child involved parent project possible. So did you feel that when you went into the competition, you had been perhaps a little more careful about not interfering with the kids' learning process, and some of the projects were really extremely professionally done, and it felt that there was outside help? Is there any way for them to control it? How do the judges decide?
That is the good thing about FLL.
Can you tell us the full form of FLL?
So FLL stands for First Lego League. Okay. It's formed between a joint venture between FIRST, which is for improvement of research and science and technology. So it's essentially a thing which was started in 1989 by Dean Kamen, and they have tied up with Lego. They want the kids to actually take the initiative, learn. So it's not about just winning a competition. And what they do is really make the atmosphere such that if you have actually had outside help, it becomes pretty clear.
I see.
So they quiz the kids in a room. They have their specific about the research project, about the program. Parents are not allowed to actually be there when the actual testing happens. So if they have had outside help, I think the judges find that out. And the idea here is for the kids to learn and show that responsibility. And that's really what needs to come out. The whole idea is there are certain core values which they want the kids to display, including things like gracious professionalism, having fun while learning, working together as a team, taking the help of parents as mentors, not actually as people who are doing the stuff. And I think in the project and in the challenge, it all comes out.
It all does come out. So what do you think your child got out of it, out of the experience, and was he eager to repeat it?
So he was eager to repeat because of the I think he gets a chance to be with friends, like-minded friends, spend some time learning and also having fun. Different kids approach it differently. There are some kids who are very competitive and who want to sort of be the first and get the best out of it. There are some kids who are there because they get to learn new stuff and work with a different set of people, different set of other kids. And the whole process itself is a learning experience, resolving conflicts between each other as a kid, working together as a team with people who have different styles. So all these are actually things which...
There's a lot of interpersonal team dynamic.
Right.
That,
even like figuring out who needs to do what, scheduling stuff. These are things which the kids start taking ownership over a period of time. And that is really what comes out or needs to come out as part of this.
And what about you? What was the process like for you coaching this team last year?
Alternatingly fun and a lot of time involvement. So it's not something which needs to be or can be done in a simple manner. It takes up a lot of time. So
now, if I'm not mistaken, Odyssey of the Mind, there's like an upper limit on how much you can spend to do any particular project. What is the kind of financial commitment that this involves?
So the commitment here is mainly you have to use the Lego elements or the Lego pieces.
Okay.
You have to have the robot, and then there are restrictions in terms of the number of sensors and the number of motors that you can use. Other than that, there are really no other restrictions, so to speak. So
what is the typical financial commitment for this program? Because go ahead.
Sorry. So if you're talking about a team of 6 or 7, so there are you can have a maximum of 10 people in a team.
I see.
This is for 9 to 14 years old. There are other programs at the higher levels, like the first program and so on. If you have a team of 6 to 7 people, if you're buying a fresh kit, a new robot, and then doing the registration and so on and so forth, you're looking at a commitment of around $150 to $200 per family.
And I do remember you talking about the time commitment. So what is the time commitment for the parents in this?
And the kids.
And the kids.
I think you should look at anywhere between 4 to 5 hours a week.
I see.
To begin with, if the team is very rookie, and then the time commitment will fluctuate over a period of weeks depending on when the deadline is, when the tournament is, etc. But it's safe to say between 4 to 5 hours a week is a good.
Is it too late to start a team now? What's the typical timeline that we're talking about?
So typically the challenge gets revealed. So they have a big reveal of the challenge. It's usually around Labor Day.
So everybody in that age group competes for the same project. I see. So it's a single project. It's not a choice.
Yes. And you get to know about the details around Labor Day.
Labor Day. Okay.
And so usually, Google plays a big role. They, some of the people here in the Bay Area, the announcement is done at the Google campus and so on. And then the kids get around 2.5 months. So the whole of September, whole of October, a little bit of November. And that's when the first qualifier tournaments are. And then people who make it to the next level, the teams which make it to the next level, they typically have their next level tournament either in December or in January. So we're talking about 2 to 2.5 months for the process, right from when the challenge is revealed to when the initial competition takes place.
And there is a fair amount of flexibility once you have a team of how you manage your time within that time frame. And
That's true.
You just have to register. So Arun, I'm going to make the same request of you. If you can just provide us the links that parents can go to, we'll try a little paragraph about your program. We can put it up on the indiacc.org/parent talk website. And with that, we come to the end of this show. Thank you so much to all our guests who were here and shared their experience and knowledge with us. And I think we've only scratched the surface of enrichment opportunities available to kids. I'm sure some of you will tell me that I've missed out on some, and do get in touch at radio@indiacc.org to let us know what else we need to talk about. One thing I would absolutely say is that when you're planning an enrichment activity for your child, I think it would be best to have the child do the leading for you and sort of direct you to what they're interested in. It shouldn't feel like this is another burden that's being put on them along with the homework from school. And if you're a parent wondering how on earth you're going to make time in your busy life for your children's extracurriculars and whether they're doing enough, too much, too little, keep in mind that no previous generation has obsessed as much over parenting as we do. And tune into next week's episode on the stress of parenting in these modern times. That's all from us today at ICC Parent Talk. See you next week, same time, same place, Radio Zindagi, 1550 AM. Saturdays 11 to noon. This is your host Vidya saying bye-bye and see you next week.
हेलो, हाँ माँ, कैसी हो? पापा ठीक हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ बेटा, जस्ट मिसिंग तुम सबको। हर साल दिवाली की सफाई करते तुम्हारी चीजों को देख के बहुत याद आती है। चलो छोड़ो ये सब बातें। Where are you taking everyone for दिवाली?
निशा को तो बस शॉपिंग करनी है, और आपको तो पता है ना कि बच्चों के लिए वी नीड टू सेलिब्रेट ऑल द फेस्टिवल्स सो दैट दे लर्न अबाउट आवर कल्चर। अच्छा चलो माँ, आई विल टॉक लेटर। निशा, we have to make this Diwali special. Kids need to learn about the festivals of light.
I have already bought tickets for the best Diwali event in the Bay Area. Our entire group is going with family.
कहाँ? With kids? Again another dinner or someone's house?
Nahi, we are going to ICC, India Community Center. It will have karaoke, dinner, Bollywood performances and DJ. और बच्चों के लिए special entertainment. October 16 starts at 6 p.m.
क्या बात है निशा, इसी बात पे I'll double your shopping budget.
Hello and welcome to India Community Center's Parent Talk, a show for parents by parents. I'm your host Vidya. Before we begin, I just want to give out some contact information for the show. Our website is indiacc.org/parent talk. The email is radio@indiacc.org, and of course our call-in number is